Hi, my name's Samantha Dawson and I'm currently the manager of this charity, and we support people living with or affected by HIV. The day in the life of Samantha in Body Positive Dorset can be total chaos. It can be like this morning I've done a home visit with the nurse because we provide that service now where we go out to people and go to them rather than them having to go to the clinic. And then it can be something like filming, like something like this, mind-blowing, numbing paperwork. That always is always really exciting, but paperwork has to be done. But the thing that I really enjoy doing in the charity is being a peer support worker, which means that I'm supporting people that are living with the same thing as me. I think people think that HIV is kind of just easily managed nowadays. People who are maybe diagnosed now are kind of given a really good prognosis. They get given medication straight away. Within 6 months, they're probably undetectable and they're kind of told to just go and live their life. And they will live a normal life expectancy, the same as anybody else. However, for people that access services like Body Positive Dorset, they have much more complex needs. The mental health can be bad, housing, immigration, and that doesn't mean that it's necessarily right at the beginning of their journey. It can also be like halfway through, or it's a roller coaster ride and you never know when you're going to need support. I was diagnosed in March 2008, so it's my 18th year anniversary coming up, and at that time when I got diagnosed I knew very little about HIV, and I thought that I was just going to die and, not see my children, they were adults, but not see them, grow up more and die before my parents, all that really kind of sad stuff. And it took a good 5 years of kind of being with HIV, but living in Bournemouth, which is a kind of rural coastal area. The support for women is far and few between. So my peers a lot of them were men, not that that's a problem. So 5 years into my journey, I was shoved on a train, literally, just as the doors closed. So there was no escape. Arrived in London and walked into this room where there was probably, 25, 30 women. And it was just a room full of women, all living with HIV, but all trying to live their best life. So there was women that had been diagnosed for years, women that were newly diagnosed. And it was a whole weekend of laughter, learning, tears. There were lots of tears. But I came away from that empowered as a woman and decided that I was going to live openly with my HIV so that I could try to encourage other women that were diagnosed with HIV not to be ashamed of who they are, but also that support is out there. And that having that kind of community has given me a wealth of experience, but also support itself. I mean, I'm a 4M mentor mother, which is an organisation that supports women through a pregnancy journey whilst they're living with HIV. I'm also a Grows mentor, which means growing older, wiser and stronger whilst living with HIV. And that's mentoring women through maybe the menopause and just generally aging with HIV, because when HIV started in the early 80s, not many people survived, and the people that did survive, obviously they're getting into later life, over 50s, but also one of the biggest populations of people living with HIV are people over 50, and that includes women. And it's kind of like an unknown area. Everyone's still learning, so we're kind of all learning together. So as a woman living with HIV, I can't help myself but kind of get involved with what I can to try and increase the knowledge that we need about women living with HIV, especially ageing, because we're not supposed to be here, but we're still here. Anybody that you ever talk to will always talk about our previous building that we were in, and we used to have really fantastic parties. And I do remember a particular Alice in Wonderland party where it poured down with rain and all the gazebos were like bowing with rain, but people had such a fantastic time. And I think that memories like that, the feeling of community and being part of something, but not having to worry about your HIV status, whether you need to tell somebody that you're HIV positive or anything like that. So yeah, I think for me, the Alice in Wonderland party is quite a good one. Go get tested. You know, knowing your HIV status is really, really important. We all have an HIV status. You're either HIV negative or HIV positive. And I don't see what the harm is in knowing. You know, people go to the clinic or they get, you know, tests at home, and a lot of people think that they don't fit in a certain criteria of what they think, you know, puts them at risk of HIV. And that's where people need to change. If you're, you know, if you're getting a sexual health screening, you should get tested for everything, regardless of who you are, you know, what your gender, sexuality or colour is, you should be tested for everything. Knowing your HIV status is really important. And it's also a way of ending HIV transmission. So, for example, if you were admitted to a Dorset hospital, Bournemouth or Poole, at the moment, you would be offered an opt-out scheme, which means that you could refuse to have an HIV test. But what they're actually doing is encouraging people to have them so that they can identify the people that are living with HIV, start them on medication, and as we know, once somebody's undetectable on medication and well cared for, they can't pass HIV on. So it's identifying the people that don't know they have HIV and possibly maybe passing it on to others without knowing. So yeah, get tested, know your HIV status.